What up, people? It's your boy, Master Chudy, out here with another Stargirl review. So we have the penultimate episode of this two-parter season finale. Um, or pretty much, I said that in the last review. So we got the first part of the season finale, which is Star and Stripes, basically. We're now in the end game here, beginning. Um, I thought this was a pretty good episode. It moved pretty well, but I will list my usual pros and neutrals and cons and everything. But a quick summary of the episode. Everything is now building up. Um, More or less. Uh, Jordan pretty much sent Sportsmaster and Tigress to go out and eliminate the Whitmore to eliminate Courtney and her family, basically. So everybody's trying to separate it. Initially they tell Mike. Everybody knows but Mike about what's happening. So Pat tells him, "Hey, we're going camping," and he tries to tell Mike his identity and everything, but not before Sportsmaster comes in and tells Pat that, hey, I'm here to take you out, and they engage in some battle. Meanwhile, Courtney and her mother are busy packing. Tigress comes in and attacks them as well. And to summarize it, we both get brilliant fights. You know, Courtney's mother gets roughed up a bit. Like, she gets hit and she's bleeding from the mouth. Like, they don't hold back. That's one of my favorite things about Tigress and Sportsmaster in this series. Um, but yeah, Pat tries fighting back, but clearly he's no match for Sportsmaster on his own, and he's getting whooped pretty bad. And Sportsmaster finds the Stripe robot, and he's like, "Oh yeah, oh wow, this is cool." But he continues to beat on Pat, basically. And as he's about to really beat on Pat, he goes in. Mike comes in, and one of the darkest ways to try to incapacitate somebody, Mike takes a power drill and just drills it into Sportsmaster's back. Obviously, I almost thought that he was going to paralyze him or shock him or something, but Sportsmaster was like, Dang, what?" And he's about to go in, and then Pat takes like this huge work wrench and just clocks Sportsmaster with it, and he's out. And pretty much, Courtney goes ahead and lasers, basically Tigress, and she's out. If I didn't know any better, you would have thought that they had both died, but we'll get it. But they don't. They're incapacitated. So that's when the family's like, "Yeah, we got to get out of here." And they all head to a cabin outside of Blue Valley, where they have the whole gang. Um, um, you have the whole gang basically. They got Amaya, they got Rick, they got Beth, they got yeah, everybody. Mike now knows, and Shining Knight. So they're all trying to go ahead and plot their next move. Meanwhile, we get a side plot about basically the give me a minute. We basically get one of the other ISA members, the Fiddler, or the new Fiddler. Basically, she has a hard time with her son and saying that, oh, the son is like, oh, they're bullying me. And she's like, okay, yeah, your father was also bullied. And, he took action and he took out his bullies. And, you should think about that too. And, sorry, why did I even, I messed up, I messed up the new Wildcat's name, Yolanda, my bad. But, yeah, but anyway, you know, uh, the new Fiddler's son is basically like, oh, maybe I should start killing my enemies. Hopefully not. But the whole plan is that at Blue Valley, basically Jordan is notified of their failure to kill Courtney and her family and her family. So he decides to move up the phasing. Um, And here's where I feel a little bit of sympathy for one of the enemies, kind of. We see that Henry is like Brainwave is like down in the Dragon King's, lair, for lack of a better word. And there he finds Cindy, and Cindy's like, "Hey, let me out." And she's been in that dungeon, and he's like saying, "Cindy, if you had known about my son's latent abilities, then I could have helped him. And this is all your fault. Essentially, you made me kill him." And she's like, "Hey, while you were busy in a coma, that everybody else was there picking up your slack." So she's like saying that, and he starts getting into her mind. It kind of like touches a nerve, saying that what your father thinks of you. He doesn't think anything of you. He thinks of you as a failed experiment, and she kind of gets hit. It's like saying, "It's like my dad loves me, and you're lying." And he's like, "Why would I lie to you?" And she's like saying, "Well, why are we fighting? You should let me join you. I could be of good help with the ISA." And he pretty much says the whole thing. Your dad thinks like the rest of us. We don't want you, and just locked her up and remained her in her cell. And she's been stuck there for, I want to say, 4 or 5 episodes. Dang, the character is suffering. But as we can see, though, basically, Brainwave goes in for a test run. Dr. Ito's like, "Yeah, this could leave you brain dead." And he's like, "Yeah, I understand." More or less, he's like saying, "Well, I got nothing to lose, so why not?" So he goes in and he begins the test run. It's successful, and he's like saying it will work. And Dr. Ito's like, "Okay, yeah, we can do this." Meanwhile, we get the usual hearts to heart. Pat and Barbara, kind of reconciling after everything that's happened. Um, Rick is still trying to figure out the code. And, we also get another heart to heart between Mike and Courtney about Mike wanting to join the JSA. And I'm like, I'll get to this after the final analysis. But, eventually, um, thanks to Rick remembering his dad's love for his 1966 Mustang, they finally cracked the code and they managed to go ahead and have a full schematic of the catacombs under Blue Valley. And they were talking about machines. So now that the plan is ready, they're going to try to stop it and get things ready to go. So they split into a team of three. You got Stargirl and you got Stripe, of course. You got Rick, Yolanda, and Shining Knight, and then you got Beth and Barbara. And they're getting ready for their three-pronged attack, basically. So they go in and they hack, and they realize that, first of all, there's no interference, radio interference. So they think that's kind of good. Um, but they find out that, they find their manifesto and that they want to stop global warming, and they want to basically go in and bring tolerance and get people to embrace green energy. And you would think that these are all, you know, good things on paper, which of course they are. But then they realize that, hey, we're going to force people to do this. They're going to bend to our will. And of course, their manifesto kind of seems dumb when why would they stop at preventing global warming only? But that's neither here nor there. Of course, they're going to fight. And he said, they'll, as it's mentioned by Henry, like, I can feel all their minds and they can all fight for us and die for us if need be. That's Brainwave. But basically, they find out the catch of the whole thing that the target population will be 100 million. It will only affect adult minds, and that 25% of the people who will try to fight the takeover will not survive. Hence, 25 million people will die, which is crazy. But of course, when they find out that revelation, the gambler hacks their systems, and they say they were going to stop you. It's like, oh well, you're not going to stop us yet, and luckily Beth hasn't said anything to hide her identity because she's not in the suit. She's just in goggles, and she's still saying we got 34 minutes to stop you, and he's like, what? Oh, you think you got 30 minutes to stop me? Then when 30 minutes hits, like saying the 30 minutes is just the time frame that we're giving to Brainwave to finish his work. um, you're already too late. And so every adult mind gets taken over. We see the effect on Barbara, Shining Knight, and Pat, who has been taken over within the Stripe robot. And then, of course, Brainwave was like, yeah, I could hear all of the toilets and I could control them like Pat Dugan. And Courtney looks up at Pat. And the last thing we see is that Stripe is readying a fist and he's about to strike and he strikes and it goes to black. And that's that. So, the usual, as you know, pros, neutrals, and cons. We'll get to the pros. Um, First and foremost, the fight scenes, basically. Um, Very good fight scenes, of course. Sportsmaster Pat, great, gritty fight right there. Just fisticuffs going all about. Tigers versus Courtney and her mother a bit. How Tigers do in the last fight was pretty good. So I really like that. Another pro I have is that people are now fitting into their roles better. The heroes. Beth was not in the field technically. She was out here doing hacking, which I think is her strong suit. Very Oracle esque. I like how they utilized her and, everything like that. Another pro was teamwork. I liked how everybody was really going about their whole mission. Like, aside, even when they were splitting up and going into teams of three, or three separate teams, we see that even before then, like they all got it together, they were all doing their research, they were all trying to do everything, and there was coordination. And well done. First, we've seen real true coordination. Uh, Another pro that we got, Pat. Once again, this is another pro episode for Pat. He really tries to bomb the sun. He stood up for himself. He was fighting a a much well seasoned fighter and sportsmaster. He still put up a great fight, and he protected his son. And he's out there trying to reconcile with his wife. He's out there trying to help Rick crack this code. Pat is definitely a top tier character in this show. I can't say anything otherwise. Uh huh. So the next neutral that we'll get into the neutrals now, and I'll have the villains in the neutral. Now, this has more to do with not the way that they're written or handled, but the way that they're being handled in the story per se. Um, we've all seen. I definitely enjoy Tigers and Sportsmaster. They're very, very evil in this. We have, we definitely have, basically as well. We basically have as well, Icicle Senior, of course, Jordan. He's ruthless. Brainwave, ruthless. Doctor Ito, ruthless. Um, but then we get Amaya, the Fiddler too, and she clearly doesn't want her son involved, but as I do with these episodes, spoiler, as I spoil most of it, Tigress takes her out because she basically calls her an unfit mother because of their sadistic means of trying to take down their enemies instead of doing what's needed to do and take them out. So that's another member of the ISA shorthanded and gone because of Tigress and Sportsmaster, which has to lead me to believe that the ISA is their own worst enemy at times, and I'm like, man, you have to wonder, like, they're competent, but are they also competent? That's what I have to say. Next time, we're getting into Mike. Now, Mike is a neutral. He's been neutral. This episode kind of helped him in a way. I mean, he started off once again very annoying, like, yeah, I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to. I'm like, Mike, please, your dad's trying to tell you something. Like, listen, and he ain't even treating you like a kid. Like, slow your roll, man. Slow your roll. But then, of course, I liked when he tried against bonding with his sister again, Courtney, and defending his dad, like giving the sportsmaster that power drill. It was like, okay, you got something on you. But I'm gonna have to eventually accept that Mike is written to be kind of, I don't know. I guess he's 13. I just think that you should be, you know, less of a annoyance at 13, but what am I to know? I haven't been 13 in a while. Okay, so that's that for the neutrals. Now we get into the cons, and this is kind of where I'm getting into this. The story wise over the season, everything seems to be moving very fast. In a way, I would have thought this would be like a season 3 finale, it would have been nice to get more fleshed out of the people right there. And already you've got issues with, oh my gosh, this doomsday weapon. It would be good if this was a thing that was prepared over a couple seasons. I'm just saying. Another thing is that the villains itself are like offing each other, and there's children. Like we all thought that, oh, maybe the kids would be involved in the new ISA, but the magician is dead. Amaya the Fiddler is dead. Her husband is dead. The magician's wife and kid dead as well. Henry Jr. also dead. Shiv is in prison for the most part. You'd almost think that there's no incentive for these guys to even want to be evil, the kids, when they realize that their own parents double cross each other and kill each other off. Why would they want to be evil? Like, and then that leads to the fact, like, man, where can the story go from here if like the whole opposition is just offing themselves? You know what I mean? It does create a bit of an issue of I don't know what to really. I guess I don't want to say it's a good or bad thing. I mean, the good thing is that I don't know what to expect for season two, but the bad thing is I don't know what to expect for season two because like they've all been killed off. We don't know unless Icicle Junior is going to be, taken in. And by the way, as if I forgot to mention, Icicle Senior's parents are saying you should tell your son about the truth, and he's like, no, not yet. So we don't know what that's going to happen. But hey, we'll see. But if I have to guess and be a betting person, it's Cindy will probably be the main antagonist or somewhat of an antagonist in the next season. But who knows? Who knows? And then again, there's still Sullivan Grundy as well. So hey, ah, so I believe that is it for my for my cons. Once again, the major con is that I think that the story itself is moving too fast. I feel like I was watching a movie in a way. And the heroes are already together. The whole family knows your secret and the season after one season. Yeah, it does feel kind of fast. But the episode itself was pretty good. I really liked it. I give this a good 8.5 out of 10. Um, and that'd be that. So, once again, thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notifications. Make sure you're notified. And comment below on your opinions because I'd like to get them. Once again, I do these reviews for you, the people, because when discuss good comics, get your good shows like this, not good comics. That's to borrow. Good shows like this and get your views on them. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll have more videos up tomorrow. Peace.